Hello, beautiful Vermonters, beautiful YouTubers, and everybody out there. Welcome to my channel, Vermont Sun and Shade. So if you're new to the channel, I'm so happy that you're here. Jump on board. It's free. Subscribe. And if you're coming back, thank you for coming back. So today we are going to cover a few stories on hikers who got lost and then they were found. And there is one story in particular that we will start out with of a hiker who did not survive. However, she was extremely experienced and she survived for an extremely long time. And she left a whole log on how she survived. So we're going to start with that story. But and I share these stories in hopes that there's information you can gather from these to help you not get lost. Now, even the most experienced hikers somehow get turned around. But I really believe the more aware you are, you hear these different stories, the better the chances are that you're not going to get lost. And in my research, I have found that um, there's a few states that have very interesting stories about hikers getting lost. So, in the next few videos, I think we're just going to do a little bit of a series because there is also a very specific list of hikers who had gone missing and they have never been found in any manner. So we will take a look at that list also. That will be over the weekend. That will be the next video, actually. But I think now is a really good time to share these stories because this is the time that we do venture out. We get out there and, we like to be part of nature. So with that, we'll get started with the clips. Okay, everyone. So we're going to take a look at this first article by The Guardian. Now, this article was written, and they have it highlighted here, 8 years ago. However, it is about a hiker who went missing on the Appalachian Trail. She survived 26 days. So a journal was found on her. When they found her, her name was Geraldine Largay, and she was 66 years old. And it shows that she tried in vain to send SOS messages, but finally accepted basically her fate. A hiker survived 26 days after disappearing on the Appalachian Trail and wrote desperate journal entries and the text messages that have only recently reached her family, according to the documents. Wow, that's odd. Well, this was written back in what did they say? Yeah, eight years ago, so 2016. So Geraldine Largay, known to her friends as Jerry, disappeared on July 22nd, 2013, after leaving the trail to relieve herself. So she left the trail, Warden said in the report. She remained missing for over 2 years. The only clear clue investigators had was a photo of her taken early in the morning that she went missing near a log lean-to, whose three walls are covered with a corrugated tin roof, a fire pit nearby. So look, and she went into the woods. She couldn't have gone too far. Um, okay, she went into the woods to relieve herself. She couldn't have gone too far. A report released on Wednesday as part of the public records request details what wardens know of Largay's final days and what she herself wrote. So in the notebook dated August 6, 2013, 2 weeks after she lost her way, Largay made a desperate plea. When you find me, please call my husband George and my daughter. It will be the greatest kindness for them to know. Some of these words I cannot say because I'm on YouTube. So that I am unalive and where you found me, no matter how many years from now. So she was very aware and experienced and knew um, what this fate may entail. So Largay's husband, George, was not far away on that morning that she went missing. He had driven to the Route 27 crossing, about 22-mile hike away from the shelter where his wife was last seen. Largay had committed a through hike of, listen to this, 2,168-mile Appalachian Trail and had already traversed more than 1,000 miles. She went more than 1,000 miles and probably in her life thousands of more because she was experienced and did not get lost. Like many hikers, she took a trail name and she was called Inchworm. Her husband met her on the trail for different times for small reunions. So Largay, 66, was a retired Air Force nurse who had hiked long trails near her Tennessee home, taken a course on doing the trail, and easily made friends with people on the trail. We'd kid that she'd put the Joey in Joey DeVere. Her husband joked. Sorry, I probably didn't say it correctly. It means the joy of life, right? Hiking the Appalachian Trail and sleeping in tents and wearing the same stuff for 3 or 4 days in the rain. Not on my bucket list, he said, but she needed to be supported on the hike. And because she had limits on what she could carry, I simply had to say, okay, he finally had to agree. What's 6 months into the grand scheme of things? So I did it. The documents show that Largay, 66, tried to text her husband after she lost her way. At about 11 a.m. that day, she wrote, in some trouble, got off the trail to go BR, and now I'm lost. Can you call AMC to see if a trail maintainer can help me? Somewhere north of Woods Road, and she's trying to say where she is. The text never sent because of poor non-existent cell service. I cannot emphasize this enough because in the last video we did, Search and Rescue says so many people have become dependent on their phones and they rely on the electronic, right? And it didn't even get sent. So maybe on her end, it looks like it got sent. But the next day she tried to text again. Oh, and here it says undelivered message, and that was at 4:18. And lost since yesterday, off 3 or 4 miles. So call police for what to do, please. By the next day, George Largay was concerned and official search began. Over the next few weeks, it expanded past the warden service to include search aircraft, state police, national park rangers, and fire departments. All of these agencies are on the ground, in the air, looking for her. They pursued, and she's looking and listening because she's experienced. They pursued hikers' tips, scored side trails, set dogs to searching to no avail. Heavy rains that week obscured the trail, and Largay remained lost on the face of the trail signposts for other hikers to look for. Um, Face on the trail, that signpost for other hikers to look for. Adam now knows that at least 3 canine teams came to about 100 yards of camp. So see what happens is the heavy rains, the torrential downpours, they wipe away the footprints, they wipe away the scent, so the dogs lose their there's nothing for them to pick up. The newly released documents, first reported by the Boston Globe, also show that close friends cast doubt on Largay's ability to hike alone. Her friend Jane Lee, who had hiked much of the trail with Largay before a personal emergency called her way, told wardens that her friend sometimes struggled to keep up and had questionable skills with the compass. Okay, so she wasn't extremely astute with the compass. So that maybe is a factor. In October 2015, a forester working for the US Navy, which has property bordering the trail, found a possible person, according to the report. Lieutenant Kevin Adam later described his thinking that afternoon, writing, the possibilities were if it was a human person, it was animal bones, or if it was a person, was it, and he's questioning if it was Jerry Largay. When he arrived at the site, his doubts evaporated. I saw a flattened tent with green backpack outside of it and a skull with what I believe to be a sleeping bag around it. And I was 99% sure that this was um, Jerry. So the campsite was difficult to see unless you were right next to it. So Adam, so during all this time, it sounds to me like she never found the trail. Like she was in the middle of the woods and didn't find a trail. Let's see if she did. I don't know. Um, Adam wrote, noting that the tent was under several large trees whose branches had obstructed the sky. So, nowadays we also have the drones. And, but if it's obstructing, you're under this tree, the drone isn't going to necessarily pick you up. The site was in the dense woods near the border of the Navy and public properties, and Largay had built a bedding area out of small trees. This is how she survived so long. Trees, pine needles, and possibly some dirt in an attempt to keep her tent out of any water. She also had tied a space blanket between the branches to provide some cover. So she was highly intelligent, very aware of her surroundings, and she still got turned around. There was also evidence of lost opportunities and an open canopy nearby where she could have been seen from the sky. But, I mean, she couldn't possibly be thinking of everything, especially she's lost. And here she is focusing heavily on surviving. So, yeah, she's going to seek shelter if it's pouring rain. Um, so, in my view, search and rescue um, might want to somehow figure out a way to hone in, especially with someone super experienced, hone in on the sheltered areas also. So Largay also tried to set fires. Adams suggested noting nearby trees that had been charred black. Oh, so listen, she did try to give them signals, seemingly not from lightning, but from human hands. So, I mean, there is no way that anyone, probably on both sides, could have done any better. The forest is a phenomenon. It just is. It can be wicked out there. In the camp, they found the basics for hiking: maps, a rain jacket, a space blanket, string, Ziploc bags, flashlight that still worked, and small human reminders: a baseball cap, dental floss, homemade necklace with white stone wrapped in string. They also found her notebook. Moss was growing on it. George, please read, and kisses. So entries explained that she had spent about 2 days wandering after a wrong turn across the stream, and that she had tried to find ridges where she could regain. I mean, you just read this. She actually knew exactly what happened and how she got lost. And with all of that detail, sharpness, and awareness, she could not get back. And that's just the obscurity of the woods. The entries continued until August 18th, nearly a month after her disappearance. We are unsure if this is a correct date or not. Now, you almost wonder. She went into the woods not too far from where she was standing, in shelter. And so you almost wonder if she stayed right there and like, I don't know if it was possible for her to stay there. Maybe she absolutely needed to continue to seek shelter and get food. But if it was possible, I wonder if it was possible for her to stay right where she was, because the possibilities of them finding her may have gone up because she wouldn't be moving. She'd be staying in one place. Anyway, the entries continued until August 18th, nearly a month after she disappeared. We are unsure if this is a correct date or not. A medical examiner ruled that Largay had died, unalived, of exposure. And in their most recent public statement, the family thanked the warden for the dedication in this case. It became apparent from day one that this was personal to them, and they would not rest until they found her. The family said in January, asking for privacy. Well, this lady was absolutely incredibly amazing. And you take her age into account, because I'm 65, and I just picture myself when I go on out for doing many errands, how exhausted I am when I come back. I mean, what an amazing trooper she was. Largay's husband and daughter did not immediately respond to the interview. Um, and the warden service said it would release a statement later. Now, the family, let's read here though. The camp was less than 2 miles. Oh, listen to this. Her camp was less than 2 miles from the Appalachian Trail. You almost wonder, I mean, I'm just throwing things out there. I'm not saying if it was right or wrong at all. I'm just saying you almost wonder if she had a loud horn, right? You figure 2 miles. I don't know. But I wonder if they can come up with more tools to help a hiker when they get lost. So Adam wrote that walking south from the campsite site, the dense forest became open woods with good visibility after 60 or 70 yards. And after 25 minutes, he found a clear logging road that led to the lodging. In total, the walk was about 30 minutes. So, anyway, that is one story of an absolutely just beautiful lady who, and to share, because I imagine she was probably very frightened deep down, am I going to make it or not? And yet she shared everything that was going on. So, God bless her soul. And so that is Jerry Largay. Okay, now I've got some other articles I researched where hikers were found and were able to share their stories or were able to get some info. So I don't know if we're going to get the information we want, but I reviewed a few of them and we get an idea. So here, this article is on AppalachianTrail.com, and it's called Lost and Found. Um, and I'm looking for a date. Now, sometimes on these websites we don't get that, but let's see here. So I have a feeling, yeah, this one was 2013. So we have bad news and we have good news. First, the bad news is a 39-year-old woman from Warren County, New Jersey, called authorities around 5:30 p.m. from her cell phone on Sunday, December 29th, 2013, to say she had gotten lost while hiking on the Appalachian Trail. So it was winter. Okay, it's winter, but she's able to get through. They received the call. So Larry Raganese, a spokesman for the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, said that the hiker thought she was in Worthington State Forest, east of Delaware Water Gap, on the border of Pennsylvania. That's a lot of detail. That's pretty darn good information. So now, okay, so that's good news. Park Ranger Michelle Zit, a search and rescue coordinator for the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation, said that the woman was found just after 8:30 this morning in Buttermilk Falls section of Delaware Water Gap when she hiked to a nearby road. Now, the unnamed hiker, who was hiking alone, became disoriented after taking a variety of trails. So look at, she was 39 years old. So this is a young person. And she still got mixed up on her trails. She became disoriented after taking a variety of trails without a map. And this is one of the SAR's advice is don't depend on your GPS, like have a paper map in your backpack. She was, however, well prepared otherwise with warm clothing, water, food, and fire starting gear. So that is really gear. That's a really good to know. So that's key. So that's something I want to imprint on my mind is that she was extremely well prepared, even though she just set out, it sounds like for a very small hike to me, it sounds like. Um, so here it says they're grateful. Look at all the agencies that were searching for her. New Jersey State and Park Police, the National Park, the Delaware Gap and Rescue Service, and then New Jersey Forest Fire. So she had all those agencies, and she was able to say pretty much where she was, which is amazing. So if you were lost in the woods, um, on what was described as a cold, miserable evening, would you survive? So this hiker hopefully learned to carry, and this is what they say you absolutely have to have, right? A map, a charged cell phone, warm clothes on, warm clothes, maybe if you can put them in your backpack too, extra food and water, gear to start a fire, super important. So a large garbage bag for emergency shelter, a whistle to help. I think you should have a blowhorn. I really do. One of those that sounds like, those monster horns. I really do. Of a flashlight and enough hope or prayers to refrain from panicking. So yeah, because when you panic, it does affect your cognitive ability. There's absolutely no doubt. So now for the next hiker. So that's good to know. That's we learned a little something there. Um, this one is missing hiker. First of all, let's just cover here. It is Eyewitness News, ABC, and looking for a date down here. This is Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. So this is just last month. Missing hiker found alive after spending 10 days in Northern California mountains. How he survived. 10 days. So 3 days of dehydration, you can start to have very serious issue. So let's read this article. Santa Cruz County, a missing Northern California hiker is back home after spending more than a week in the mountains, and there was a heartfelt reunion. Lucas McLeish. I did see this on the news, by the way. You may have seen it too. Look, he was only 34 and he spent 10 days in the Santa Cruz Mountains, basically a lost. So on Tuesday, June 11th, McLeish headed out for a 3-hour hike and from his hometown of Boulder Creek. He said he got lost and didn't recognize certain landmarks wiped out by the fires. Okay, this is one of the other things that was SAR says unexpected things on the trail. So this must have been unexpected to him. Certainly he knew the fires had occurred, but he probably didn't think that they would obscure, his direction in such a way. So when he didn't show up for Father's Day dinner, he was declared missing on Sunday. So 4 days later, he was rescued. He said, I'm tired and a little sore. I lost my voice, probably from dehydration. We spoke with McLeish on Friday about what he had on him at the time. He said, I left with just a pair of pants, my pair of hiking shoes, and a hat. So he had no shirt. I had a flashlight and a pair of folding scissors, like a Leatherman tool. And that was about it. The sheriff's office said McLeish had no injuries. He said he survived on drinking lots of water. So he must have had a water source. Maybe he was going along the path of a stream. Let's see if they give us any more information here. I just made sure I drank a gallon of water every day. But then, after getting close to the end of it, my body needed food and kind of sustenance. And the Santa Cruz a sheriff's office said they deployed drones, and the San Mateo Santa Cruz unit and the fire department and state parks assisted in this search. Sheriff's office said around 3 p.m. on Thursday, witnesses reported hearing someone yelling for help. So McLeish was found in a remote canyon in a big basin state park. So he was still in the park. Well, he was in the park. He was moved to see all the boots and paws on the ground looking for him. It was just really humbling, and I don't know, it was an awesome experience. Both he and his family are feeling grateful for all the help they received, and they won't be hitting the trails anytime soon. I did enough hiking probably for the next year. Some people might say for the rest of their life when they get to that. But so he um let me just go back up here for a moment. They're saying he survived 10 days, but he didn't have food. So he did have this little knife. Excuse me. He didn't go into detail, but he may have used the knife to cut vegetation and eat and maybe get some nutrients that way. Maybe he was able to do that. But there's something, he's saying water primarily kept him going. So that's an amazing story. And that was in Northern California mountains. So now this one, um, before we get into this one, this is by Fox News. This one prompted me to do a little bit more research. And we're going to take a really good look at Yosemite National Park because many, many, many people go missing there. And so I really want to see what's going on and see if we can get any more information on that. So these missing hikers in Yosemite National Park were found after a 2-day search. So this was just the other day. This was published August 6, 2024. So let's see what happened here. So 2 hikers went missing in Yosemite National Park over the weekend. And Miguel Degaldo, 63, and 40-year-old Ana Rodate were reunited with family after rescuers located them, the National Park Service said. Park spokesman for Fox News said that there were no immediate word on whether they were injured or not. So we don't have that info. The Galdo and Rodate are left the Brig Deville Creek campground at around 10 a.m. Saturday to go on a day hike. So they were going on a short hike towards Ostrander Lake. Officials said that they were expected to return to the campground after a couple of hours, but they never showed up. So, rangers and rescue personnel, searchers, and a 4-dog search team, and 1 aircraft that covered the area. So they were out on the trail. So this is what it looks like here. See if I can put this like that. Okay. Let's see if this is part of the article. It must be. Yeah. An aircraft from California Office of Emergency completed an infrared search of the area Sunday evening, while California Highway Patrol helicopters also helped in the search. So take a look at these loops, It's kind of like a maze right there. But this is, let's get this up here. This is Brive DeVille Creek Campground, which is surrounded by forest of red fir and lodgepole pine. It has numerous hiking trails located nearby. So okay, they go camping, they want to do a nice little day trip. Let's see what happened. The Brideville campground sits at an elevation of 7,200 feet, and it's surrounded by forest of red fir lodgepole pine, according to NPS website. Numerous hiking trails are located along the nearby Glacier Point Road, and the website warned there were no services available. So you get out there, even if there's not a sign, it's probably safe to assume that your phone isn't going to work. And I guess is that the end of the article? Yeah. So okay, I guess that's the big takeaway there. That there were no camp, that there was no cell phone. Let's see, is that really it? That is it. Okay, so all right, so that's but it's good that they were found and after 2 days of being reported missing. So 2 days isn't too bad. But that could have gone longer, so thank God they were found. Now, here in this article, this is by CBS News, and a hiker went missing for 2 weeks, was found in Kentucky's Red River Gorge, and this is the person was okay after rescuers heard her cry for help. Truly a miracle. Now, look, this wasn't too long ago either. This was July 22nd, 2024. So this is in Kentucky Red River Gorge. Let's see what we can learn here. Rescue teams found a man who had let's see, is that the same article? It says, rescuers hear the cry for help. Okay. So rescue teams find a man who had been reported missing more than 2 weeks in the Red River Gorge, a wilderness area full of steep cliffs and jagged terrain in eastern Kentucky. The rescue team called it truly a miracle that the hiker survived that long without food and water. So, yeah, 2 weeks is incredible. This is a young man. This is a 48-year-old named Scott A. Hearn. Saturday afternoon, he was found near a cliff line after hearing someone calling for help. Um, According to Wolfe County Search and Rescue, which responds to emergencies in that area. Hearn had been hiking in the area to look for waterfalls, his family told researchers. So he was basically sightseeing. He wasn't, out there to do anything too, intense. Hearn was hoisted out of the rugged area by the helicopter after Wolfe County rescuers contacted the state police. The SRA, or the rescue team, posted video and images of the rescue operation. So let's take a look here. They blocked him out here, because of privacy and everything. But take a look at these rescuers. Look at this guy coming underneath. So let's see what happened, because it looks like how did he get there? Um, okay. Rescue teams find him after 2 weeks. Search crews began an intense search for Hearn, who is from Ohio, early last week, using dogs and drawing information from a diary Hearn wrote about his locations he wanted to explore in Red River Gorge. So the rescue team wrote in social media posts that Hearn's car had been parked at the gorge since July 6th, and the family had not seen him since July 5th. Search crews doubled back to an area they had looked at on Saturday and decided to head further north up along the creek. They found a shoe print and evidence of a walking stick in an area that is not frequently traveled. Okay, so they did find signs. We were persistent in our search, so they follow the signs. And in the social media Sunday, the search and rescue member Eric Walderman conceded that after not finding Hearn for so many days, most of the team went into the day pretty much with the thought that this is going to be a recovery now. But when the team stopped to regroup, they heard a faint noise. We paused and we shouted, "Who is that?" thinking it was another search team member. And then they heard the word help. We took off in that direction, and as we got closer, we asked what his name was, and he said, "Scott Hearn. I have never moved faster up the hill in my entire life." Waterman said he was the first one to get Hearn, and he reassured the hiker was safe. So he looked at me and said, "Thank you so much." He said, "Will you give me a hug?" And the SAR Waterman gave him a hug and said it was the best hug of the both of our lives. The post Hearn was in need of medical attention upon his rescue, but no information on his health was available. It was just truly a miracle that after 14 to 12 days without food and water, he was able to survive. Um, so you hear all these different stories. Some of them, like the amazing Geraldine Largay was able to use all of her survival skills and went, like a month out in the wilderness all by herself, day and night. And then some of these others who were rescued, they went out there with, one of them went out there with no shirt. A few of them went out there no food, and they were thinking they're going out for a few hours. So with that, I hope these articles were interesting to you and valuable, and that maybe you read a little bit into the articles, got some information in your own mind, and it helps you in being oriented and focused and safe, and so that you can enjoy your beautiful hikes as much as possible. And with that, I will please, if you like the video, give a thumbs up, and let me know if you like more videos like this. And with that, I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful weekend.